Here are two ghost experience part 4, proudly present by Nightmare Horror Addict. Strange scream. I have been haunted about this certain situation for about 7 years. I was in 8th grade, and I was staying at my grandparents' house in Michigan. It was New Year's Day and I was up at 3 or 4 in the morning watching MTV. I started to feel really anxious and nervous for some reason, so I thought I should go to bed. I lived at my grandparents' house until I was 8, so I still had my bedroom there. I went into my room and laid in my bed, that is right next to the window. There is this old radio that hadn't been used for a long time, and it was on very faintly. I realized it was on and I got up and turned it off. This is where it gets really strange. I went back into my bed, got comfortable and closed my eyes. Literally within a second of me closing my eyes I heard the strangest thing I have ever heard. I always have a hard time explaining it, but it sounded like a scream, at all different octaves and echoing, and there was a nails on a chalkboard sound mixed in with it. It lasted for about 30 seconds and I just laid there looking at the ceiling. I ran to my grandma's room and I was crying really hard. She was a huge night owl like myself, so she was watching TV as well. I stood in her doorway crying and didn't know what to say. She asked me what was wrong and I told her about it, and she said it was probably some poor animal that was dying, but the only way I could describe it was saying it wasn't real sounding. I have no idea what I heard. I am wondering if anyone else has ever heard anything like that before. No one at that point had ever died in that house, but my great-grandma and my great-uncle had died next door, and family has said they have seen my great-grandma around. But not as anything evil. This sound wasn't good. A very simple sighting. This story might not seem all that exciting. I think you had to be there. But it is true. Having lost my father when I was very young, and then my mother only a few years later, I seemed to spend most of my youth with an unhealthy need to know, believe, see, and prove there was life after death. I spent many nights of my youth in dark and spooky places, derelict houses, cemeteries, monastery ruins, etc., sometimes on my own. I really wanted to see a ghost. As I grew older, I grew out of this dark obsession, but never lost the belief and interest of the supernatural. It was only last year, sometime during summer, that I lay in the bath. I had a busy day at work but a relaxing evening. I had been living alone for 8 years, and for those who have experience of life on your own, daily routine goes out the window. So at 2:30 in the morning I climbed out of an hour-long relaxing bath after reading my favorite music mag. I did not drink anything but coffee that evening and only smoked normal ciggies. I dried myself down, wrapped the towel around my waist and walked to the bathroom door, switched off the lights, opened the bathroom door and stepped toward the hallway. The whole house was in darkness as I had already turned off all the lights. From my left a dark figure approximate 5'10" walked directly in front of me, no more than 2 feet away at the closest point. I could easily have reached out and touched the shadow. I froze for a moment but followed its gliding motion as it moved to my right. No sounds, no features, just a black shadow in the dark. The whole sighting lasted maybe 10 seconds. I did not feel any change in temperature, although I felt a strange chill. The hairs on the back of my neck stood out. After a couple of seconds, as the shadow seemed to disappear into the wall, I moved towards the kitchen, about 4 feet from the bathroom. I stood in the hallway still staring at the wall. I felt compelled to speak. "Hello, I did see you," I spoke out loud towards the area that the shadow had disappeared into. I really don't know why I spoke, it just seemed the right thing to do at that time. I switched on the kitchen light, put on the kettle and got on with things as normal. The experience did not affect me long term. I was never afraid of the dark, and this didn't change anything. In 4 years living in that property, it was the only strange occurrence I witnessed, and to be quite honest, it gave me a thrill. What did I see? Was it a trick of the light? Walking from bright light into darkness. For those of you who have similar experience, I would love to know if you felt the same emotions, i.e. scared but not for one's safety, the weird chill, the thrill, and did you speak to it? Thank you for watching our video. Don't forget to subscribe our channel to get notified when we get new fantastic video.